Hi everyone, welcome back to Sunshine in the Kitchen. Thanks so much for joining me today. As we all know, Easter is right around the corner, so I got a very appropriate appetizer for you to bring to your Easter party. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make deviled eggs. Super amazing recipe. This isn't just any ordinary deviled eggs. This deviled eggs has bacon in it and a couple other amazing ingredients, and also it's topped off with chives. These deviled eggs are just super easy to make, super delicious, and here's how to do it. So a little trick when making deviled eggs, in order to get the nice bright yellow center and not have a little green and brown ring around your yolk, you're going to want sort of room temperature eggs, so I would suggest maybe taking your eggs out 1 to 2 hours prior to making them. And the next trick that I'm going to tell you is flipping your eggs over. So when you purchase eggs, they're sitting in the store for about 1 week to 2 weeks, and then maybe even in your fridge for an additional couple days or a week. During that process, the egg is sitting on one side, usually on its back side the whole entire way. You're never flipping them around. And when it's sitting on its back side, the yolk, gravity just tends to pull it a little bit down. So when you boil the egg, it's going to be one thicker part of the white and one thin part, and the yolk isn't going to be centered. It's going to be more towards the bottom. So a little trick that I learned is either flipping your eggs overnight or flipping them about 2 hours prior to making them, and gravity will kind of center it off again. So you're going to have your deviled egg right in the center of the yolk, or at least more towards the center, opposed to what it would have been if you never flipped your eggs at all. So I already flipped all of my eggs about 2 hours prior to this video. I just put a little dot on one. You're going to get your egg, and see the dot? Now you don't see the dot because it's completely flipped over. So you're going to want to do that to all of your eggs about 2 hours before boiling them. Another tip is you want to make sure that your eggs aren't really piling on top of each other. You want to do as much of a single layer as possible. If you do a couple on top of each other, they'll be fine. But if your pot's down here and you have like 2 or 3 dozen eggs in here, it's not going to work as well. If you're going to do a couple dozen to bring to a party, I would suggest getting multiple pots or doing this in batches. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to cover your eggs with 2 inches of cold water above your eggs. You're going to bring this up to a rapid boil, not to a simmer, not to a couple bubbles here, a couple bubbles there. You want it to a rolling rapid boil. So it's just going to be bubbling, rapid bubbles like a witch's pot. Once you see that your water is at a rapid boil, you're going to turn your flame completely off, cover your eggs with a lid, and you're just going to let them sit there for about 10 minutes. Don't peek on them, don't lift up the lid. Just let the steam do its magic, and it will cook in the hot water for 10 minutes. Right after 10 minutes, you're going to drain all of the hot water, move your eggs to an ice bath, make sure they're completely cool and easy to work with, and then you're going to be ready to start slicing them in half. Alrighty, I'll see you when these eggs are finished boiling. And as for my bacon, I have 6 slices on my handy dandy wire pan. It's just the wire rack that sits above the pan, the one that's in most of my videos. The reason why I like this pan is because it's going to allow the bacon to get nice and crispy. The hot air is going to move all 360 around the bacon, leaving it not to get soggy and sit in the grease, but rather just crisp up. On the bottom of the pan, I have some foil just to make the cleaning a little bit easier. If you don't have one of these pans, no problem. You can either cook the bacon on your stove top just like regular in a pan. If you still want to bake them, that's fine. Just put them on a baking sheet at 400 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes, or until you notice the bacon is nice and crisp. Alrighty, so I have all my eggs nice, ready, and peeled. I'm just going to slice each of them in half vertically. And look at this, you guys. Do you see that bright, vibrant yellow? It's not all green and brown, sometimes like other eggs that you might have boiled in your past. I know I've boiled a couple like that. And you see how the yolk is nice and centered? This one didn't get as centered. As you can see, it's a little bit thin right there and a little bit thick right here. But as for this egg, it got completely centered, and that's what you're looking for. If all of yours aren't completely centered, that's fine. And just to make presentation a little bit nicer, in between slicing eggs, I'm just going to clean off my knife on a damp napkin, just so when you cut your next egg, it doesn't get yellow around the outside of it. Alrighty, so I'm just going to mash up all of my yolks until they're nice and fine, like a crumb-like mixture. So we're just gonna work on this for a while. Okay, so now that we have our yolk all nice and broken up and it's in small little crumbs, I'm just gonna add all of my bacon. Next, I'm gonna add 1 cup of mayonnaise. And you can add more or less with all of the ingredients that I use. You can use 1.5 cups of mayonnaise. You can use 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. It's really up to you. You can play with this however you like. What I would suggest is you start off with a little, and you can always add more if necessary, but you can never take away once you add a lot. So start with a little, taste it, and if you feel like you need some more mayonnaise or more any of the other ingredients, then you can add those later. Okay, so once I added my bacon and my mayonnaise, I'm gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of some salt. I'm gonna use 1 full teaspoon of onion powder. And also 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay, so the next ingredient I'll be adding is sweet pickle relish. And I'm gonna be adding 1 full tablespoon of the relish. I'm also gonna be adding 1 full tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and this is just gonna give the yolk a little bit of a nice tang. And now I'm just gonna mix this until everything is nice and incorporated very well. I'm looking for a nice smooth texture. Since I am going to be presenting these deviled eggs, I like to make it a little bit fancy. It doesn't take much work to make it a little bit fancy. All I got was a wide star tip. I got a pack of like 5 for about $2 or $3, and I just used a Ziploc baggie and I snipped the end and I put the plastic all the way to the end. And I'm just gonna put this in a cup, stick it in there, and I'm gonna add all of my yolk inside. Now that I have all of my yolk in my homemade piping bag, I'm going to start squirting the yolk into the white part of the egg. I don't even think I need to use the fast forward button for this because you can seriously do this so fast. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds each egg. See how easy that is? Now I'm just gonna get some chives and sprinkle them all over the eggs for presentation. Plus, I feel like it gives it a really good flavor. Here are all of my beautiful deviled eggs. Personally, I think that the deviled eggs are a little bit better, or actually a lot better when they're cold. Don't get me wrong, they're great when they're room temperature, but when they're cold, it just gives it time for all the flavors to introduce themselves to each other, and I just think they taste amazing. So chill these before the party that you're going to, 30 minutes at least, and that will get the job done. Now it's for my favorite part of every video, and that is the taste test. These are so amazing, you guys. If you don't give these a shot, you are truly missing out. I'm gonna cut this end of the segment really short because I just cannot wait to eat these. I missed lunch and I am starving, and these are phenomenal. Give this video a big thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Until next time, God bless from my kitchen to yours. Happy Easter, bye!